The truth about real estate investing, it takes a lot of money to get started. One of the best things you can do is to actually save up any which way possible and get that 5% down and start to house hack. We covered this a lot on this channel, that house hacking is one of your first ways to get into the real estate market, especially if you're young. Do whatever you can, save 5% down payment and get into a property. It does not have to be the perfect deal. Just get something, get going, live in that property. You rent out the other rooms, or if you get a duplex, you rent out the other side, and you get to live relatively for free. If not, maybe you get paid to live there. So that is one of the best things you can do, because nobody tells you about this. Real estate investing is super hard to get started because you got to save up a lot of money. Myself, I had about $30,000 when I was 20 years old, so it was many moons ago, but that was not easy. I saved up every penny. I didn't buy the PlayStation 2 when it came out. I saved up all that money and used it eventually towards real estate. But what can you do in the meantime? One of the easiest things you could get into is some stocks while you're waiting around, or buying a little bit of cryptocurrency. So do your research on that. We do have the links below where you can get $10 for free with Wealth Simple. And also we have Shake Pay as well for your Bitcoin. And a little tip here, if you Shake Pay, you actually get some free Bitcoin once you're in that app as well too. A little bit of an Easter egg within that app. So check that out while you're waiting around to save for your down payment. But do whatever you can, work a job, work 2 jobs, stop buying all the useless stuff. That's the only way you're gonna get ahead to eventually save your down payment. You just gotta do it. Everybody's always talking like, get a deal first and then the money will come. But if you really don't know what you're doing, you're just gonna have to probably buy your first property and figure that out first. And then you can start using other people's money. So congratulations, now you are a landlord. You have a job, and that's probably not what you really wanted to do. You probably didn't want to have a secondary job. You probably were working your main job and you thought, okay, financial freedom, I'm gonna buy investment properties, I'm gonna house hack into this property. But now you're a landlord. You're not an investor just yet. Like, yes, you're investing in real estate, but you're so heavily involved in the business because you are the landlord. And this is one of the things that I had to really figure out for myself if I really wanted to be a landlord or a real estate investor. When I was first house hacking, I knew everything about my property, and I knew when something creaked and somebody came home, and like, it was just too much because I wanted everything to go perfect. Like, oh, a light bulb's out, let me fix a light bulb. Like within seconds, I wanted customer service to be amazing, and that's amazing. And I always give the analogy, imagine I was a restaurant owner and I ran one restaurant. That restaurant would run amazingly, right? But if I ended up branching off and I wanted to get 2, a franchise, and 3 and 4 and 5, they're not gonna get the best reviews all of a sudden than me staring at the one restaurant at all times. And that's kind of where you are with your very first property. You're gonna be, constantly looking at that property. You want it to run perfect. The grass is gonna be perfect. Snow is gonna be removed the moment the snow is falling down, everything like that, especially in Canada. But you're just not gonna be able to scale. Eventually, you're gonna wanna get out of this landlording mentality. I bet you didn't sign up for this job. You think, oh, I'm gonna have cash flow. Let's say it's $200 a month. It's gonna pay for my Netflix subscription. It's gonna pay for my cell phone. It's pretty great. I'm like living, that's for free now. Everything else, if I get 10 of these, I'll have $2,000 a month. Life's gonna be great. It just never works out like that. There's always capital costs with the buildings. And then not to mention tenant laws. The deck is stacked against us. Tenants have all the rights, especially where I live. So if you're just one landlord, and you can go on any of these Facebook pages, they're always complaining about one thing. And right now that we're in a pandemic, what do you think it is? Probably people not paying rent, and there are always these questions like, my tenant didn't pay rent, what would you do? And then they have a bunch of armchair quarterbacks writing underneath what they would do. And it's just not great. I almost want to delete half those pages, because those people are landlords and they have one property, and that's great. Maybe it's their retirement fund. But if you want to be a real estate investor, you have to get away from this. Yes, it's important to know what the tenant laws are, but you don't need to know it absolutely perfect. What you need to do is hire a property manager. I would stress, get a property manager before you think you can even afford one. And I know that's gonna be so hard. It was really hard for me. I didn't wanna do it because it's like, well, that's gonna cut into my cash flow. If I didn't do that, there is no way that I would go from what I have, about 8 units, to coming up to 247 units this summer. I couldn't handle all the calls and things that happens. This is why you put a property manager in place, so that you can grow as a real estate investor, or you'll just be a landlord forever. So depends on what you want to do. For me, I want to grow my real estate portfolio, so property manager is key. At first, when you're house hacking, it's pretty easy to do it yourself, but you won't grow. You'll just be stuck in the house running a really good business within the house. And that's where I was for a long time. And now it's pushing forward, and I want to grow the portfolio. But the last thing they don't tell you about being a real estate investor is you can't save your way to this giant portfolio. If you think you're just going to go to work every year and save up for another down payment, guess what? The banks will eventually cut you off and you can't get enough mortgages. So you're going to have to start thinking about different ways and think outside the box on how you're going to be getting those mortgages. If you really want to scale, you're going to have to start looking at more creative ways of financing, possibly seller financing. And these are some strategies you can learn once you get your foot in the door. You've done house hacking, you have your first rental property, you've been a landlord, you're like, cool, I've been a landlord now. Now you want to be a real estate investor. Now it's time to get into the more advanced strategies on how to grow. So yeah, take the first year to kind of figure out landlording, but if you want to get going, you're gonna have to figure out these more advanced strategies. So that'd be asking the seller, can you hold the financing? Now you don't have to get the mortgage, and you just need to come up with the money. And where do you get the money from? Now you start branding yourself to be like, I'm a real estate investor, look at my portfolio, I've successfully done this. And people will eventually lend you money, or they will joint venture with you into the project. So now you have a joint venture partner, and you have all these properties not using your own money. And that is the secret. Don't think that the top real estate investors are all going to their salary job and saving up all their money every year to eventually, you're not gonna be able to put 5% down. You're gonna have to put 20% down on a lot of properties. Where do you think these people are getting it from? So they're constantly thinking outside the box. And it's pretty hard to like convey, but the best thing you can do is to network with people that are already doing this. And I know it's hard in the pandemic right now, so whatever version of DMing people you can do would be like the utmost thing that you could do right now if you wanted to scale your real estate business. Somehow we used to say get into the room with these people, because that's just how it goes. I hung out with some pretty good real estate investors that really like changed my mind, or else I would have still been happy house hacking and not realizing that I could level up and not realize that I could purchase bigger properties. That would have all been foreign to me. One, nobody really knows how to do this stuff. There's not like there's a secret book out there. You just kind of have to do the ready, shoot, aim. Just get close, pull the trigger, figure it out. And that's just kind of how real estate investing goes. And who do? You get close, you run into a problem, and then you ask people, those people that are already in your network who've already done it would be the best way to go, and to ask them for advice. Not just asking for blanket advice on a Facebook group about what to do during this problem. Probably the person that's, a little bit ahead of you in what you want to do. So find that person who's a little bit ahead of you, and do whatever you can do. Old school, you'd go for coffee with them. Now, whatever, try to get them on a Zoom, pay for their time, do whatever you can do to figure out their secrets. And that would be the best suggestion, because nobody tells you this stuff in real estate investing. And with that being said, guys, I'd really appreciate you guys watching. And if you are new here, make sure you guys hit the like button, you hit the subscribe button. I hope these tips helped you guys out, and we will catch you guys on my next video. Bye.